Okay, hello. Welcome everyone to the present show. Finally, I'm here. Pat, I'm sorry I left you for 2 entire weeks alone. But that's actually what holiday means. And I was in a very interesting place, right, around the world. And I found out that mindfulness is not actually a topic that is discussed a lot. So that's why I think the present show is important. So share the present show, share with your friends in your night. You see it on Facebook and LinkedIn. It's important and more know about the benefits of mindfulness. And today we have another story because Sarah is here with us. So ciao, Sarah. Welcome to the present show. Tell us about your story and your journey through mindfulness. And before, a little bit about you, who you are, what are you doing?
Sure. Thank you, Lily. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah McNee. I've been with IBM for about 4.5 years now. I'm currently on the HR communications team, which is a team within communications here at IBM. And we focus on how can we help build engagement of employees of IBMers across these different HR experiences that we create to help advance the business and help advance IBMers' careers. So we have Checkpoint, for example, our approach to performance management that we reinvented a couple of years ago through massive co-creation, almost like a hackathon with IBMers. So how do we communicate that? How do we help build belief in that? So that's one of the things that I help work on. Another one is around career conversations, or how can we have meaningful discussions with our managers on where we want to go next in our career, and what's the best way to get there? What are the skills that we need to build? So what are those communications? What are those mechanisms, the vehicles that we use to help build energy and belief that you can grow a career here in multiple directions? And what's the best way to meet your professional goals? So these are just a couple examples of what I work on today. But in regards to where mindfulness has come into my career, mindfulness has been really helpful in grounding me in these different roles that I've had. So I started with IBM, like I said, 4.5 years ago. I started in HR in Mexico City, Mexico, as an HR partner. Mm-hmm. So that's a generalist role in HR. You get to work with a group of managers on building solutions to engage their teams, their people. So being there for my first year, it was a really fun role, but also very challenging. I then moved to New York and I joined leadership and management development, which is another specialized area within HR. That was focused on how can we build belief in managers and leaders and the right behaviors so that we can advance the business. So you're really scaling behavior change across the thousands of managers at the company. So that was a really fun space, but that is where I met Patrick, one of the co-hosts today, and Vicki Flaherty, who was one of my managers at the time. That was
last week as well.
She's so great.
2 weeks ago in the present show, yeah.
Yeah, she's so great. I spoke with her last week as well. I learned so much from Vicki as my manager on mindfulness as one of the leaders within the community, but also in just collaborating with her in that role on our team in leadership and management development. What are some ways that we can infuse mindfulness into the way that we were working? Mm-hmm. Because I find across the different roles and experiences that I've had, sometimes we move so fast. It's hard to take a moment to slow down and really think about what's our objective here. What are we all trying to achieve in this meeting, for example? So something that Vicki led on the team and I was a real advocate for was this mindful minute, because I love alliterations. I'm in communications, right? So it's a minute to start meetings by pausing, just being quiet, and everyone in the room for that powerful 30 seconds or so thinking, what do we want to get out of today? Yeah. I ended up using that practice too in some of the sessions that I got to co-host and present with another peer of mine, Peter Mastichetti. So we presented to different groups on various leadership topics while I was in that role. And a way that we like to kick off some of these sessions for IBMers and people outside of IBM was with that mindful minute as a way to center the group, center the audience on, what do we all want to achieve together in this session today? So that's a little bit about myself.
Why is that important? to begin a meeting like that, or what benefits did you see in kicking off meetings like that?
Yeah, so this is just like anecdotal. I don't have any fancy research done yet, but it really was a powerful moment for the team to be quiet together. Mm-hmm. And you don't notice that, in your day when you're going meeting to meeting, or you're always working on something. These moments of collective silence, that to me was so different. And some people on the team too would say, like, thank you so much for making time to do this, because we don't give ourselves enough of that time on our own. Mm-hmm. So creating a habit, creating a way of doing this that's integrated into the workday already, I think really opened people's eyes to, this is something helpful, helps mm-hmm. us all level set and be together, starting a conversation in a new way, rather than just like any other beginning of a meeting.
But it was like a minute of silence, or you had a bit of, like we do in mindful minutes, like focusing on your breath or on your body scan?
So it was a little bit of both. So what we would do is that a member of the team would volunteer to lead the mindful minute each week during our meeting, and everyone had a different style of doing it. One team member really liked bringing in music, so they'd play a song, for example, for 30 to 45 seconds, but the first 15 seconds would be, let's all come together for a mindful minute. Let's not think about all the emails that we're not looking at right now, but what do we want to get out of this, hour together? So just take a moment to think about, what do you want to get out of the meeting today? And then just silence. And sometimes they'd play a song. Some would read a poem. Vicki is prolific with her poems, so she would sometimes read those when she was leading the minute. Yeah. I think I did music as well. This was like roughly 2 years ago, so I'm trying to recall. Some showed pictures of family trips. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do mindful minutes.
So you think it's possible to do that only if you have a manager, like in that case, Vicki, that is supporting it? Or would anyone that is watching a present show that is part of a team have a chance to make it happen as well in their own team?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that anyone has the power to influence bringing mindfulness into their workday or into any meeting, into their way of life, basically. It definitely helps having supportive managers and leaders within your organization who want to give you that time to have that platform to talk about mindfulness or to lead a mindful minute. So it definitely helps, but it's not a showstopper. If you feel passionate about creating a more mindful way of working, then go for it. Make a case for it, bring up the idea, test it out, see how the feedback comes in. But yeah, it shouldn't stop you if there's no current practice. Just give it a try and see what happens.
So my recommendation is for people that are, I guess, a bit skeptical or hesitant to come up to their leadership or whoever's running the meetings and say, look, we need to do this new mindfulness stuff. Just say that I've noticed, that a lot of us, when we're coming into the meetings, we're still on our phones. We're still thinking about past meetings. We're in a rush. We're not focused. So let's just spend the first 30 seconds or 1 minute to just align, right? To talk about what we want to achieve in this meeting, or, take a few breaths and come at it from that sort of angle rather than from the, we need to do mindfulness, right? Because that's still a fluffy word for a lot of people.
Completely agree. Where are there opportunities or pain points that you're experiencing? Like you were just saying, Patrick, if people are distracted at the beginning of meetings, this might be a way to bring that in as an opportunity for change. But sometimes there aren't problems. And this is something interesting that came up. I'd be interested what maybe people, I don't know if there's a chat or anything, but someone said to me a couple months ago, maybe there is, and this was not related to this topic, but I was looking for a problem so that we could solve it with some type of communication that I was working on. And they said, well, there doesn't need to always be a problem that we're solving. Sometimes it's just about, elevating or increasing belief, engaging people even more than they are today. So even in your current meeting situations or in your jobs today, even if there's not a problem of distraction or frustration or exhaustion, maybe people are doing great, but this is a way that you can help amplify that feeling. It's just getting people centered and aligned. So I leave that as my provocative thought of the day. There's not always a problem to bring in mindfulness to solve, that it's just a healthy habit that can help increase.
And it's an interesting narrative, because so far, the mindful minutes, what we were always advocating is that it's very beneficial for you as individual, right? To be more mindful, to pay more attention to the present, how is important the present, so for stress and so on. But in this case, you see as well a team benefit, right? To be and share the silence, to share important minute of the present all together. And that, I think, is a worth element to consider when
I think it's a great point. And I usually am thinking at the team level, just based on my previous roles, right? How can we work together as a team? How can we achieve XYZ outcome as a team? And that comes from a lot of my background playing sports all my life. I come from a lot of team-based sports, right? Field hockey, even tennis, it's individual, but team also. The swim team, soccer team, basketball, softball. There's so many different teams I was on, right? And so if I think about it in the work setting, it's the same way, right? How can we all have the clarity that we need so that we can move quickly to get what we need to get done? And I think mindfulness is one of those ways that you can do that. And you don't always have to call it mindfulness either, right? To Patrick's earlier point, to build off of that, it's about getting people on the same page and helping people to just take a moment to pause and think about where to go next. Yeah. And it doesn't need to have a name attached to it if that's not going to resonate, right? But you're still getting the practice out there. I don't know what you both think about that, but that came to me as we were talking in the session today.
I agree. Especially if you want to build stronger relations and connections with your team, then you need to step out of like business as usual, right? And all the business orientated stuff. So if you're just being in silent, if you're breathing, if you're looking at pictures, listening to music, reading poetry or whatever it is, that will really build like lasting connections. So when you're in the corridors or having coffee or whatever, then you can talk about, oh, that poem was great, or I really like that song, where did you get it? And that really builds lasting relationships, which is key for developing meetings and business relations and all that good stuff.
True.
Completely agree.
I remember when I was playing basketball, before every match, we were all putting our hands one next to the other, right? And we were shouting something that everybody knew in that time. And it's something similar. We start a meeting, let's, put our hands and do a mindful minute, and then we shout all together something common, and we start in a great way. And we are going to do a much better meeting because we have more.
That would be really cool if we could all, as a team, get in a conference room and shout something together. Yeah. That'd be so funny. I don't know if it would happen, but maybe we can try it and see how it works.
1, 2, 3, mindful minute now, Pat.
Yes.
I think it's time for our final practice. So, Sarah, you told me that you were doing some of this. So can you share with us one of these mindful minutes so that we can share with our viewers of today?
Sure. So if ever we could just sit back in their chair or sit upright in their chair or stand, whichever way works best. And really just take 30 seconds or so to reflect on, what do you want to get done today? What decisions need to be made? Who do you need to talk to? What help do you need? What clarity do you need? Take about 10 more seconds. And go ahead and finish up that last thought. And go with intention today to listen to your body. What can you get done today to help make progress and move forward? All right. Well, thank you everyone for taking that minute to think. And thank you, Lele and Patrick, for the opportunity to talk with you all today.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, Pat, as usual, for being here. And thank you, everybody, for watching. So you can please always like, comment, share anything about the present show. We are here. We are also on Instagram now, so you can find us there. See you next week with another of the present show episode. And till then, don't forget to be mindful. Pat, last words from you.
Just like Lele said, be mindful. And thanks, Sarah, for shedding so much light into the team and believing.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao.